I'm Mary Beth Temple from Hooked for Life Publishing, and I am here on behalf of my good friends at Yarnspirations, and we're going to take a look at all the tips and tricks you need to know to crochet Laurence the Llama, one of our new Red Heart Amigurumi crochet kits. So here is Laurence. He has things to tell you. And let's take a look at the kit. Now the kit comes with everything you need. You have your pattern, you have your main color of yarn, you have your stuffing, a crochet hook, the contrast colors of yarn that we're going to need for Laurence's eyes and saddle and neck collar, a locking stitch marker, and a yarn needle. So everything you need is in the kit. All we need is your 2 hands and a couple of brain cells, and we're going to start by making Laurence's legs. We're going to get started with a magic ring, which is quite a common technique if you make a lot of amigurumi, and of course we hope you will. We're going to take the cut end of the yarn and put it over our hand. Make a little space between your index finger and your middle finger. Now I'm going to take the yarn that's attached to the ball, we call that the working yarn. We're going to put that over the index finger, under the middle finger, and over the index finger, and we're going to make an X. This is the easiest way to see what you're doing. Now I'm going to put my hook under this leg, grab this leg and pull it through, and I'm all set to crochet. All I need to do now, I'm going to hold that with my right hand and get my left hand out of the way. So there is my magic ring. We're going to chain 1, and then we're going to put 4 single crochets into the ring. Now you make these single crochets the same way you would if you were working into a stitch, but we're going to insert the hook in the ring. Yarn over and draw up a loop. We have 2 loops on our hook, 1, 2, and we're going to finish the single. So there's 1, 2, 4, let's double count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to tug on the tail to turn that into a round. So sometimes you'll see the tail is sort of twisted in with the others. Just make sure it's untwisted, and we're going to pull, 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 pull. You can feel it. It's almost like a little click. You can feel it when it's all the way in. And now I have a round. Now for this round and all the subsequent rounds on all the subsequent pieces, we're going to take our locking stitch marker and mark the last stitch of the round, and we're going to move it up with every round because it's important to know where each round begins and ends. Now for round 2, it says increase in each stitch around, and to increase, all we're going to do is work 2 single crochets in 1 single crochet. So I'm going to insert my hook in the stitch, yarn over and draw up a loop. I have 2, my first one's a little tight. And then I have 2 loops on my hook, 1, 2. I'm going to yarn over and draw through 2. There's the first one. Now I'm putting the second one in the exact same place. Insert my hook, yarn over and draw up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2. So that's an increase, 2 stitches in 1 stitch. Now I'm going to the next stitch. Insert my hook, yarn over, draw up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2, and put another stitch in that same stitch. You can see it's a lot easier. That first one's always a little tight with the magic ring, but it gets easier as you go around. So I'm going to do that in 2 more stitches. So we had 4, and after we put 2 in each one, we're going to have 8, and that will be the end of round 2, and I will move my stitch marker up. And then for the next 9 rounds, that's round 3 to 11, you're just going to single crochet in each stitch around. So in each stitch that we have, we're going to single crochet. So when I have finished all of my working even, you're going to have a little llama leg that looks just like this. So we're going to make 4 total. The first 3 you're going to end off like I did here. The 4th one, which is the one I'm making now, we are not going to end off. We're going to continue with that yarn and start joining our legs together to make the little llama's tummy. Okay, I've completed my 4th leg, and since this is the 4th one, I'm not going to fasten off. Following along with the pattern, it says for row 12, single crochet in each of next 4 stitches of the 4th leg. So this is the 4th leg, the one that I have in my hand. So I'm going to single crochet in each of the next 4. Now it says chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and looser's better than tighter here. We're going to work into those chains, so I don't want them to be super aggressively tight. So it says join using a single crochet. So I'm going to go in the next available stitch, but it doesn't matter. You can join in any of the stitches. I just think this gives me the neatest join. So I joined using 1 single crochet, and now it says single crochet in each of the next 3 stitches of leg 3. So this is what it looks like at the end of row 12. So we're going to turn our work, we're working in rows now, at the end of row 12. And we're going to chain 1 for our turning chain. Oop, I lost my working yarn here. Here we go. And it says single crochet in each of the next 14 stitches. So let's talk about that. We have 4 stitches here that are single crochet. We have 6 chains, so we're going to put 1 single crochet in each chain, and then we have 4 single crochets over here that we did. So that's 4 plus 6 is 10 plus 4 is 14. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this stitch marker now because I don't need it. Now, for rows 14, 15, and 16, we're just going to turn the work, chain 1, and single crochet in each of the next 14 stitches. So we're going to chain 1 and turn and single crochet in each stitch across. Here we are at the end of row 16. I have my little llama belly going on in here and 2 of my legs joined. Now we're going to join the next 2 legs. So at the beginning of row 17, we're going to chain 1, now we're going to take one of the legs that we already made and we're going to line it up with the leg stitches here. And again, I'm just trying to get my finger in here because it's going to make my life easier. So I'm going to single crochet in each of the, well, I'm going to join with 1 single crochet because that's how it's written. So I'm going to insert my hook here on the belly stitch, and then I'm going to insert my hook here on the next empty leg stitch. We can call that leg 2 because that's the second one that I made. Yarn over and draw through all of that, yarn over and draw through 2. Let's keep going. Once you get it, that first one set up, it's a lot easier to do. So I'm inserting my hook in the next stitch on the belly and also in the next stitch on the leg because I'm attaching the leg to the belly while I work across this row. Yarn over and draw up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2. So that's 2, 3, and 4. Make sure that you don't, it's really tempting to work in 1 stitch twice on the leg because you can't really see what's going on. So make sure that you are putting each stitch in a different stitch. Now we're going to work across the next 6 stitches of just the belly. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're going to single crochet in each of those. 1, 6, and we're going to have 4 left. And there they are. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to join these last 4 stitches to these 4 stitches on this is the first leg that we made. This is leg 1. So once again, I'm going to insert my hook in the belly and then also in the stitch of the leg right across, and I'm going to do that 4 times, and then we have completed row 17, and we will have 14 stitches still in our row. Here we are at the end of row 17. So all 4 of our legs are attached to the belly panel. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make this one big round. We're going around the unused stitches, across the belly, around the leg, across the side, around the leg, across the belly, around the leg, and across the side. We're going to chain 1. Now we're going to single crochet across the 4 unused stitches of the leg. So these are the naked stitches. They have nothing in them. So we're going to go 1, and before we get too much farther along, we're going to use our locking stitch marker to mark the first stitch of the round, because remember, we're going all the way around now, so this is where we're going to end, and that is a helpful piece of information to have. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4. So now I've used all the stitches on the leg. I'm going to get that tail out of the way. I'm going to weave that in later. Now we want the 6 belly stitches, so they're between the legs. So we're going to, let's see what we've got here. So it won't be these 4. These 4 were the other side of the leg. So it won't be 1, 2, 3, 4. So it looks like it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That looks correct to me. So I'm going to go 1, 6. And now we're jumping to the outside of the leg, these 4 stitches that we didn't work in before. So that's 1, 4. All right, cruising right along. I'm going to weave these tails in a little bit. We're going to work across the side of the belly, and we're going to put 4 stitches in here. So you kind of want them evenly spaced. It looks like it's going to be pretty easy to do that. I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, because that one's sort of attached to the leg. More of an art than a science. You just want them to be evenly spaced so you don't have any gaps. 2, 3, 4. Now, you're going to do this all over again. You're going to put 1 in each of these 4 singles, 1 in each of these 6 singles, 1 in each of these 4 singles, and 4 stitches worked evenly across, and then we'll be back to the beginning of the round. All right, here we are. We have one complete round that incorporates all 4 sides of the belly and all 4 of the legs. So we are moving on to round 19. So I'm going to pop this locking stitch marker out, but I'm going to put it back after I put the first stitch in because I need to know where my round begins and ends. So it says single crochet in each of the next 15 stitches. So that's 1, and I'm going to put my locking stitch marker back on. I need to know where that is. Lock that up. So I'm going to keep going till 15 are done. 15. Now it says increase in next stitch, single crochet in next stitch, increase in next stitch. So remember, to increase, we're just putting 2 stitches in the same stitch like we did when we made the legs. So there's my increase, single in the next one, and then increase in the next one. That's 2 stitches, 1, 2, and then it says single crochet in each of the next 18 stitches. And I could count every single stitch, but honestly I know that I'm just going to single crochet in each single crochet till I get back to the beginning of that round. That will be 18 stitches. For round 20, we're just going to single crochet in each stitch around, no increasing or decreasing, and then we're going to start working on the stuffing. So let's talk about the stuffing. We're going to open up our stuffing packet, and as soon as this hits the air, it's going to expand quite a bit. So I'm going to get all of that out of the packet. And I'm certainly not going to use all of it now, but I would like it to, I'd like the air to hit it, and I like to fluff it up a little bit. So you can see how that teeny tiny packet expands and gives you a great deal of stuffing. But I want to stuff the legs now, because if I do not stuff the legs now, I'm not going to be able to reach them later. So I'm just going to get some fluff, and I'm going to stuff each leg individually. I use the non-hook end of the crochet hook to get my stuffing in there. So let's take a look at round 21. It says single crochet in each of the next 35 stitches, single crochet decrease, single crochet in next stitch. So I could count 35 stitches, or because I know that I have 38 stitches in my round, I could just single crochet in each stitch around until 3 stitches remain. So I'm going to do that, and then we're going to look at the single crochet decrease. All right, I am at the end of round 21. I have 3 stitches remaining, 1, 2, 3, because remember the stitch marker in this section is on the first stitch of the round, not the last. So it says single crochet decrease, single crochet. So to make my single crochet decrease, I'm going to insert my hook in the next stitch, yarn over and draw up a loop like I was going to make a single crochet, and then I'm going to insert my hook in the next stitch, yarn over and draw up a loop. Now I have 3 loops on my hook, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to yarn over and draw through all 3, and then I'm going to single crochet in the next stitch, and that is the end of the round. Now for round 22, it says single crochet in each of the next 33 stitches and then single crochet decrease twice. So when we made this single crochet decrease, we went from 38 stitches to 37. And so again, if I don't want to count 33 stitches, I can just keep going until 4 stitches are remaining and do that single crochet decrease twice. So let's do that on camera again so you can see it again. All right, we're at the end of round 22. We're going to do a single crochet decrease twice, and there's nothing else too exciting going on here in this round. I just wanted to make sure to show you the single crochet decrease again. So I'm inserting my hook in the next stitch, yarn over and draw up a loop like I'm going to make a single crochet, and then insert my hook in the next stitch, yarn over and draw up a loop like I'm going to make a single crochet. I have 3 loops on my hook, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to yarn over, draw through all 3. One more time, insert my hook in the next stitch as if I'm going to single crochet, yarn over and draw up a loop, and then insert my hook in the next stitch as if I'm going to single crochet, yarn over and draw up a loop. I have 3 loops on my hook, 1, 2, 3, yarn over and draw through 3. So at the end of round 22, we are down to 35 single crochet. So go ahead and work rounds 23, 24, 25, and 26, following along with the pattern, putting decreases where the pattern tells you. And then that 26th round is just working even with a single crochet in each stitch around. And then we're going to divide the stitches for the neck. All right, round 26 has been completed, and it tells us to start stuffing the body and continue stuffing as you go. Now the next thing it says is counting from the beginning of the round including the first stitch, mark the 10th and the 21st stitch. Now, if you have some extra stitch markers laying around, that's terrific. Or what I'm going to do is use some scrap yarn from another project. The other thing that most people have laying around the house that works really well if you don't have extra stitch markers or scrap yarn is paper clips. I use paper clips all the time as stitch markers. So let's count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let me get my fingers out of the way. 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm going to stick my hook in the 10th stitch. And I'm just going to pull that through. That's why I have a nice long piece of yarn, because I don't want it to pull out. Moving on. So that was 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Once again, going to stick my hook in there. And there's my little piece of thread, just to let me know what I need to be doing. Now, I have read ahead in the pattern, and it says when I get to the neck and head, when I get to that neck, I'm only going to need 12 stitches. So to double check my math and make sure that I am correct, I want to have 12 stitches here, including the marked stitches. So let's double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I know I'm good. So I'm going back to the very beginning of the round, which is where my first marked stitch is. And it says for round 27, single crochet in each of the next 21 stitches. Now, do I have to count to 21? I do not. And the reason I don't is because the 21st is the one with the marker. So I'm going to single crochet in each single crochet until I get to that second marker. And I'm going to leave these thread markers in place. If I was using regular plastic markers like this one, when I hit the marked stitch, I would move the markers up. All right, now it says join back to the original 10th stitch, which we had marked earlier to form a smaller round for the neck. So a couple things going on here. One is I don't need this marker anymore. We can get rid of that. We're going to join to the 10th stitch. So that's the stitch we marked. That's the stitch we put in it. Trying to get it together here. So we're going to join the round by putting a single crochet in this round, in this stitch, which is the marked, the stitch on top of the marked stitch. Or if you had moved your marker up, it is the marked stitch. And then it says this is now the 12th stitch in the round. So if this is the 12th stitch in the round, that means this must be the first stitch of the round. So we're going to mark that stitch as the first stitch. So for rounds 28 to 36, it says mark the first stitch and single crochet in each stitch round. And you'll have 12 single crochets. So that is 9 rounds. We're going to work 9 rounds even. But the other thing it's telling us to do is to stuff the back firmly and close the seam with a whip stitch. Okay, let's talk about this whip stitch. Now I pulled off, I guess that's about 15 inches of yarn, and what I did when I started my Llama, I did not use the skein as a center pull ball. I started from the outside because I prefer that with the smaller skeins. So I pulled my extra yarn off from the center pull. If you made your Llama from the center pull, then you can grab your sewing yarn off the outside. And I think it would make the most sense to whip stitch from this side towards this side. So to get this yarn started, I'm going to put it sort of behind some of these stitches. I'm not super worried about it showing at this point, because it's the same color as what I'm working with, but I'm going to, almost as if I was weaving in the ends, I'm going to take that under a couple of stitches. And it's okay to leave a little extra tail that doesn't pull out because it's just going to be on the inside, and who's going to know? And then I like to take a little, like a little back stitch to keep it from pulling out. And then go under a couple more stitches. All right, so these stitches over here, I'm ignoring them. Those are my next stitches. I'm going to keep crocheting in them. For the back, I'm going to line these single crochets so they're next to each other. So I'm going in the first empty single crochet on this side, and then I'm going into the first empty, let's make sure I did it, yep, single crochet on that side, and I'm going to pull that yarn through. Now I'm coming back to the side closest to me. I'm going into the next empty single crochet on this side, and going into the next empty single crochet on that side, and going through. And I'm going to pull that pretty tight. Going to go in the next single crochet on this side, and the next empty single crochet on this side. So I'm going to do that until I get to the very end, and then I'm going to weave this end in, keeping it towards the inside of the work, and I'm going to squish as much more stuffing in there as I can get so that my llama body is nice and firm. And there is my nice even whip stitch seam. I'm going to go ahead and weave in that end towards the inside. I'm going to feel my way through the single crochets on the inside of the work, and run that needle right up through the stitches, but keeping it towards the back so I don't see lots of extra. And then something I do on all of my amigurumi, and you can either do this or not as you prefer, but because I don't want that tail to pull out, I'll go right back in where I came out, and then I'll bring the needle out any which way, just a couple of inches away, and pull that through, and then trim it very closely. And what that does is that leaves me a long tail of yarn inside the body of the animal, and that prevents it from coming out. Again, just check one more time, make sure your little friend is standing up okay and is nice and firm. So now we have marked our new beginning of the round. We're going to get our crochet hook back out, and we're going to work 9 rounds even. Remember, working even means that we're not increasing or decreasing, and we're going to add more stuffing as we go, because once again, once we get up here, we're not going to be able to reach all the way down here to put stuffing in. At that point, we're going to work on the head. All right, we have gotten through round 36. So I have my neck all stitched up. That was 9 rounds even, and I was doing stuffing as I went. To finish off the head and neck, we have some increase rounds, just a couple, a work even round, and some decrease rounds, and then we're going to stuff that head and close up the top. Now the 2 ears, the tail, and the muzzle are all made separately. So let's take a look at the muzzle to get a little reminder about how to do that magic ring. Here we are at the end of round 42. I have 8 stitches left. I put quite a bit of stuffing in there. I'm going to take my needle after I have fastened off, and I'm going to weave in and out of those last 8 single crochets. Go in and out. Oh, I don't want to come unthreaded here. In and out. And in and out. And now I'm going to pull that closed. Tuck in that last little bit of stuffing. There we go. Now I can weave in this end and I'm all set. And we can start making appendages. We're going to make the muzzle, and let's do this magic ring one more time. It's just the way we did at the beginning, but that was a little while ago, so this is just a little refresher. I have the tail over my hand. I'm going to give myself some space between the index finger and the middle finger. Bring the yarn over the index finger, under the middle finger, and over the index finger again, making this big giant X. I'm going to take my hook, put it under this leg of the X, and grab this leg of the X and pull it through, and now I am ready to crochet. So I'm going to chain 1 to hold everything together, and for the muzzle I'm going to put 6 single crochet in the ring. Some of our other appendages we put different numbers than 6, but for this we're going to put 6, so that's 1. Now we're going to untangle that tail if it's tangled. Hold the stitches firmly but not too tight, and we're going to pull that little tail, which is going to bring that first set of stitches into a round. We're going to place our stitch marker on the last stitch of the round and follow the instructions. Now for the muzzle, we're going to increase in each stitch around for round 2, so that's going to take us from 6 stitches to 12. Remember, that first one can be a little tight just because we pulled on that tail so hard. So to increase, we're putting 2 stitches in 1. And for round 3, we're going to single crochet in the next single crochet, and then make a single crochet decrease. We're going to do that 4 times. So we're just going in the next stitch, yarn over, draw up a loop, going in the next stitch, yarn over, draw up a loop, yarn over, draw through 3. So once we have finished this round, we're going to end off leaving a long tail for sewing, and then you're going to go ahead and follow the instructions for the tail and the 2 ears. The last thing you have to crochet is the chains for the saddle and the martingale. So you're going to use these 3 colors for the saddle and these 2 colors for the martingale, because we're going to use the extra of the 3rd color for the muzzle. Now I'm going to give you a little bit of a tip that is not in the pattern. It says to chain 28 for the saddle and chain 8 for the martingale. And I was concerned that I was going to not have enough yarn, because me personally, I am a super loose crocheter. So I started on this end and did my chain 28, and then I started on this end and did my chain 8, making sure that I had plenty of yarn in the middle to cut, and I would have enough to tie on. But the other thing I want to show you is before you cut that yarn, if you do it my way and you do the 2 pieces at the same time, you want to make sure that that chain 28 goes around our little llama tummy and ties off, which it does. And you want to make sure my chain 8 goes around the neck of the llama and ties off for the martingale, which in my case it does not. So since I know I have this extra yarn in the middle, what I'm going to do is undo this chain right here, and I'm going to, instead of chain 8 for me, I'm going to make it a chain 10 or 11. We'll see how much yarn I have. But I highly recommend that you double check that A, you have enough yarn, because these are very small pieces, to create the saddle piece and the martingale piece that you want, but also that the pieces that you're creating are big enough to go around the neck and also around the tummy. So I went from 8, I went up to 12. See, and that's going to be just fine. So I'm going to go ahead and end that off with 12. But because I came in from both ends and I was super careful, I know that I have plenty of yarn. I can cut my yarn right here in the middle and be 100% sure that I am not going to run out. So I'm going to make my saddle pieces and my martingale pieces, and the next thing we're going to do is start sewing on all of our appendages. Now the instructions tell me to put the muzzle on the front of the head, but if you notice on the photo, we have a little side eye going with our llama. So I'm going to take it and put it on the side so it looks like our little llama friend is looking over his shoulder. But you can also put it to the front like we did with the other sample. So this is more of an art than a science. I don't have to worry about anchoring that tail at the beginning because it's attached to a piece. So basically I'm just going under the stitches on the head and coming back to front on a stitch from the last round. And then when you get it attached all the way around, you're going to weave that end in by running it behind the stitches and then extending it a few inches and clipping it like we did earlier with the other end, the end from the whip stitching. So then our muzzle will be on. So then the next thing we're going to do is work on the embroidery. All right, let's do some embroidery. I have threaded my black yarn onto my tapestry needle. Now, a lot of people ask me how I get it started because you can't really put a knot and start on the inside. What I do is similar to the way that we have ended off some of our other yarns. So I'm going to start pretty far away from where I want the yarn to come out. I want the yarn to come out over here, but I'm going to start out way over here. And again, it's very hard for you to see, but I'm working the needle through the stitches to anchor it to get where I want to go, but I'm keeping to the back of the stitch because I want to make sure that I can't see the black yarn trailing through the stitches. So I'm going to pull that up. Oh, I put hand cream on so it doesn't want to come. And then what I like to do, I leave just the teensiest bit out at the very beginning to make sure that I'm not pulling too hard. So here we are. I think I came out a little to the left of where I want to, so I'm going back down where I came out and moving the whole ball game over to the right. There we go. So I have this little muzzle going on here. And I want to make a Y shape, so I'm going to use the center of the muzzle as the center of my Y. So here's one, here's the bottom part. Move that over a little, make sure it's, oh, look at that, that's good. Now I'm going to go back down in the same spot and come up a little to the right. Here's part of the Y, and here's the other part of the Y. Now the instructions have us doing some other mechanics first, but I'm going to go ahead and put the eyes on right now while I have the black yarn going. So I'm going to come up, let's say right about here. So there's my Y, I have that all finished off. And it says for the eyes, I can go several stitches. I think it says 5. I usually find that 3 is enough, but you can do as many as you want. And I'm just going over the same stitch. Where's my other eye? It says to put 4 or 5 stitches between the eyes, but again, I feel like it's stretched out so much just because of the amount of stuffing I put in. Really looks like I'm only going about 3. So that's going to end up here. Let's make our little eyeballs. I think I would like that to be a little taller. I'm going to go up just a little bit higher. 1, 2, 3, and then when I take that down, that'll be the 4th. I wound up doing 4 on this side, so I want 4 on this side. Now, how am I going to end it off? I'm going to do the exact same thing we did before. I'm working the needle behind some of the stitches, so through the stitches, but keeping it towards the back. I'm going to bring it out over here is just where it happened to come. So I'm closing off my 4th part of the eye. And then I'm going back down where we came out, and I'm bringing it out a few inches away just to keep that tail well buried inside. And I'm going to give it a little tug and trim it here. And then I'm going to give this a little tug, that anchor that I started with, and trim that. And then that will pop right back inside of the stuffing. So then we have my little friend's face. This is the little bit of blue yarn I have left after making my saddle. And once again, I'm sort of bringing this in through the back of the stitches, leaving myself a little anchor. And all we're going to do here is wrap it around the muzzle twice, so that's 1 time and 2 times. Now it doesn't say this in the pattern, but I'm tacking it down right here because I don't want it to pop off. So look at where my needle came up. I'm going to go right back down where it was. It's basically a little tack stitch, but I have found on this pattern that if you don't anchor it at the top and the bottom, if somebody's playing with the toy, then it wants to kind of off the front, and we don't want that. So let's see, we're going to go around here, and we're back to where we started. So I think I'm going to go here, give it a little tack. There we go. And then once again, I'm going to work behind. I'm working through the stitch, but keeping it towards the back so that it's anchored. Go back down where we came out and sort of bury it in the neck. So here we have our little face and our little blue muzzle. Now for the saddle, we're going to take each of our colors. We're going to tie it with a little double overhand knot here. And I'm just going to go ahead and trim those threads close. I'm not going to try and bury them because they're so short. You have a couple of options here. If I wanted to bury them, I think they're too short for the tapestry needle, but I could, let's see, let's get the knot to the very bottom. I could, if I wanted to, use my crochet hook, grab these tails and pull them through. Oh, I only got part of it that time. I'll have to try again when I'm not at a super weird camera angle. But you could bury them this way, or honestly, I don't think there's going to be a lot of wear and tear on these. You could also just trim them super close. So I'm going to do that for all 3 of the saddle pieces. And then you have 2 that go around the neck that I'm going to put in the same manner. There we go, that worked. Let me get my scissors and trim that close. So you can bury the ends like I did here, or you could just trim them super close. And then the little short ones, the martingale ones, go around the neck. We're going to do the same thing. Oh, I picked up a thread here. I can bury them inside. Oh, I forgot to close that, clip that tail. I'm going to clip that right off. I can use the crochet hook to pull the tails inside, or I can clip them super close. So I'm going to have 2 on the neck and the 3 saddle pieces. And then the last thing I have to do is take my tail, and I'm going to sew my tail right on here, the same way we did the muzzle. And then I'm going to take my 2 little ears and sew them right on here on either side of the eyes. So here is our completed friend, Laurence the llama. I hope you had a great time working on him with your Red Heart Amigurumi crochet kit. Once again, I'm Mary Beth Temple from Hooked for Life here on behalf of my friends at Yarnspirations, and we look forward to seeing you again here real soon. Bye-bye.